Hej och hjärtligt välkomna till Investor Targets Pressträff direkt. Idag ska vi presentera Impact Analytics, ett kanadensiskt bolag som genom AI revolutionerar riskhantering inom bland annat finanssektorn. Eftersom dagens bolag är engelskspråkigt kommer vi nu att fortsätta den här presentationen på engelska. Hello and welcome, and if you tune in to Pressträff direct from Canada, a very good morning to you all. As always, if you watch this live, you can interact with the management by asking questions in the live chat. Feel free to use English or Swedish. This broadcast is a cooperation between Direct Studios, Investor Target, Stockpicker and the presenting company, brought to you by Scandinavian Alliance. Scandinavian Alliance is a full-service company, full-service company experts, I should say, and as such can connect any company to the Scandinavian and the Northern European financial markets. With that disclaimer under our belt, it's high time and an absolute pleasure to introduce Impact Analytics and its CEO, Erik Enns. Erik, how are things?
Things are excellent. How are you?
Well, we're all fine and dandy here. Well, Erik, take it away, please.
Sounds good. All right, so I'm just gonna jump right in here. Your standard disclaimer on the presentation, and then kick it off with a nice little quote from a Scandinavian, and then we'll jump right in. So, Impact Analytics is a company that is focused on bringing AI-powered analytics tools to a fairly antiquated system of business processes and operations, that being our first target being the financial sector. So what we're doing is we're building a proprietary AI model and algorithm on and I'm going to hit this right out of the gate, on private servers, because we know how privacy issues affect the people working with AI right now, especially with all the generative AI stuff going on. And what we're doing is we are building that AI algorithm and a series of applications using that algorithm to help businesses make better, proactive, real-time decisions, rather than having month-long processes and having to do manual, heavy processes that involve a lot of human error. We are enabling them to make immediate decisions with things that affect their financial bottom line in real time. Jumping into the size of the market here, I just want to show how large the financial sector is there globally, so you can see a little bit of what we're working with and what we're working towards. So, a $28 trillion market as of 2023 for financial services. That is a huge piece of pie to go after. So I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. Our real target being that risk analytics sector. So right now we sit at about a $30 billion to $32 billion market globally, and as you can see there, growing to about $55 billion by 2027. Now that's in information from Pressträff research, just showing that there's a huge pool to play in for us to make some positive impact and for us to actually have a lot of horsepower behind us. So how are we doing this? That's a question that we get asked a lot. What we're doing, as I said previously, we're developing this AI risk algorithm, and what we're doing with it is we're developing applications that can be used by both businesses and consumers. We have a few different applications that are in the process of being released over the next couple weeks. And what we're doing with those is we're hoping to build data flow, bilateral data flow, both to and from businesses for ourselves, to enhance that algorithm, to make it be able to make better decisions in real time. So the applications that we're releasing within the next couple weeks here, I want to talk about those a lot. So the first one being Credessential. What Credessential is it is a digital lockbox for everything that might affect a consumer's credit score, financial transactions, risky behavior, down to sometimes where you were born. Think about it as Dropbox, but a highly advanced and highly secure Dropbox for your financial information. And what we're hoping to do here, and the hypothesis around it, is that we can cut back those applications that involve underwriting, so mortgages, loans, auto dealers, all that stuff, cut that process back from weeks to months to a matter of tapping my phone or sending a quick link to the data. The really cool thing about what we're doing with that is we have a burn after reading functionality. I don't know how often people in the audience here have been involved in some sort of interaction that results in a no or a denied loan, only to realize that, okay, my financial data is now out there with someone, and I have no control over it. So what we have with Credit Essential is a burn after reading functionality, essentially meaning if I send my data to someone, have them read through it, and then it doesn't go the way I want it to, I can click a button, and what happens then is that data gets scrubbed, and it only exists where I want it to exist. Next is kind of the whole brain behind what we're doing is our Lana platform. You'll see here it says Lana Cash. That is our proof of concept for the entire Lana platform. So the Lana platform, if you think of it, it's a bit like a CBM. So if you think of those kind of the HubSpot, the Zohos, the Salesforces, these tools that help organizations manage their business. But this is a tool that helps manage business processes that understands risk. So if you want to plug in analytics and risk assessments into these other type of business management softwares and platforms, it's laden with a lot of API plugins, a lot of development, and can cost millions of dollars. If you look at Salesforce implementations, there's a whole industry of people that only do Salesforce implementations. So we are building this CBM that is specifically focused on those risk processes, because when you think about risk, obviously it's not just financial. It can affect every part of your business, partnerships, supply chains. I was going to say banking, but that is just financial. So we're building a solution that can proactively recognize pauses in workflow and make sure that those don't happen, and that make sure that those do not actually affect business as usual. So the first proof of concept for this Lana platform is something we're building, Lana Cash. This is a piece of technology that is going to enable a lot more streamlined KYC, know your business, or KYB, know your customer processes, as well as a nice little side effect, helps with some anti-money laundering processes as well. So KYC, KYB processes, if most people are aware, it's a very timely process and something that can run costs up into the thousands pretty quickly and easily if you're not managing it properly. So what we have here is a little bit of a little manual lifting up front, and in the back end, those processes are simply simplified and streamlined. So in order to push these platforms and these applications out into the public, what we've done is we've created something that we're calling the Pulse Pilot Program. This is an in-house incubator that allows us to work with market participants to bring them our products, and it serves two purposes. So the first purpose is that we get early stage evaluation of how our products are doing. We get real world test cases, we get real world use cases. And then in the other end of things, we get a little bit of a new perspective on things that we might not have targeted for what we're building. So we have a pipeline of, I believe, a dozen partners at this point that are at one stage or another in that agreement stage. And we plan to build with and for them. So we are working with innovative startups in order to bring more innovation into our internal ecosystem. And we are working with some brick and mortar, old school operations, your mortgage brokers, your auto dealers, that kind of stuff, so that we can provide validation on what we're doing with a really institutionalized process and really help the market there. So that is a two-tier approach to how we're launching into the market. This program is currently live if you know anyone that wants to, or know any businesses that might be a fit. And this is on top of that, it's all actually run through our Lana platform. So in the back end, we have our process going just to pick and choose out any data metrics that might be important for us to understand as well. So where do we fit into the analytics paradigm? I know there's a few giants on this page. Really, this is an aspirational idea for us. That Palantir is where we want to be in terms of data, how we implement data for our consumers rather than making them fit our framework. And again, the other organizations are giant financial organizations that we're modeling a bit after as well as things that we believe we can upset. So where are we in our timelines? So we have early days still. We're still in the build phase. Our MVP products are coming out in the next couple weeks here. We have a provisional patent in for some of those products, as I didn't mention earlier, but those technology stacks that we're building on, they are defendable, and we are providing a proof of concept provisional patent so that our invention and our development is actually protected against future development from outside sources. We are launching Lana and Credessential in the next week for MVP testing and pilot testing. Our Pulse Pilot project or Pulse Pilot program was launched last week, and then we're continuing to roll out product news and partnership news over the coming months. And we believe that by the second half of this year, we'll be very close to commercial rollout with our technology. So that's what we're doing, and this is our team that we're building with. But that's what we're doing in terms of development. I really want to point out as well, I didn't mention this earlier, but our team that we're building with that's doing the development is a company called Research Laundry. This is a team that has built dozens of applications, that has created over $2 billion of market cap for products or for organizations worldwide. The head developer was a lead developer on Gawk, which was a precursor to YouTube. They've sold companies to Zillow. I don't know how many people are aware of Zillow, if it's in the European market or not. A giant real estate organization. And they are internal, and they are building things with us. And so we have that knowledge, we have that skill set, and should have pointed that out earlier. And that's where we are with Impact right now. I welcome any questions. There's probably some stuff that I might have glossed over that is relevant. So anybody with any questions, please feel free to ask.
Well, excellent. Thank you, Eric. I will expose my little ignorance here. I made a note here that you told that the estimated market value could be up to, well, just shy of 55 billion US. And, you know, you have a compounded average growth of more than 10% at the end of 2027. Sorry. What do you think is a wallet for you to aim at? And you don't need to give me a figure, but would it be well, a thousand parts of percentage, or what do you aim for?
I think once we're finished with commercialization and actually rolling out the launch and building over time, obviously none of this happens overnight. But if you aim for 5% of that at full future state, I think we'll be laughing. When you look at some of the market, when you look at some of the revenues that these, again, I said it earlier, these HubSpots and these Zohos have, it's not unfathomable that is the serviceable market for Impact.
And how should we look at you? And yet again, noting that it's early stage, but how should we see the monetization of this? Would it be a license fee, or is it transactions fee, or is it anything else? Just try to get a feel for the tremendous growth here and put a penny on it.
Of course. So the way that we're building, particularly that Lana platform, it's not going to be something that has to be API'd into a current state business. This is a full flight platform. So that means that we're able to white label it, to license it, and then with those provisional patents coming in as well, if there's ever the need to have the sale of a patent, we can do that. So there's a few different channels through which we can realize revenue. That Credessential application that I discussed may end up being a free kind of loss leader to get us into institutionalized. But once we're fully commercialized with Lana, we have those several different ways to create ARR.
So one way of seeing it is that it will probably be a combination in this.
Yes.
You had a slide with comparables, and as a European, I noticed Experian here, UK listed, of course. Would that be comparables, competitors?
Aspirational.
but
I would call that aspiration.
yeah, okay, but it's good actually in comps, because it gives us in the market an understanding on where to put you in what box, and perhaps attach the same kind of multiples and to the same key metrics. But would you be a sub-supplier to these guys, or how should we put you?
An overlay, it would be called. So we're focused specifically on the risk side of everything. And this is I said earlier, I said antiquated, I believe. I shouldn't have, antiquated probably being the wrong word. It is still a manual heavy process, and not a lot of proactive decisions are made. It's a lot of reactive or standardized decisions that are made. So we would be a partner supplier overlay onto what they're already doing in a way that their current processes could happen as normal. But if they were using our Lana platform, there would be pieces of it. There would be information flowing that would say, okay, well, did you check X, Y, or Z? Let's pull an example. This is not a real world example. But if, let's say, for some reason, it's everybody with a red car happens to be a little bit more risky. Now, we know that red cars are pulled over a little bit more for driving fast, but let's say that is actually a risky behavior that is not recognized by institutional risk management. That is something that our platform could recognize via the data that we've aggregated through Lana Cash, through Credit Essential, and through our other applications. So to take a long walk to get over that short bridge, it would be a supplier, an overlayer, a partner.
And if I look to a credit referring agency, and bearing in mind that we are now in Sweden here, we have something called UC, Upplysningscentralen, and they provide banks with information about credit credibility for private individuals and companies and stuff like that. Could they be, well, let's say a credit referring agency? Why wouldn't they be a client to you?
Oh, they would be for sure if they wanted to. So that first product rollout of Credit Essential might be able to, and I'll say the word might, help them with identifying different metrics that are not currently recorded in the kind of credit risk assessment. Just to pull something, there's in Indonesia right now, there's something called the ICS going on, and that's innovative credit scoring, which is kind of something that we are trying to amalgamate into what we're doing, where we look at not just financial transactions, not just at purchases and some risky behaviors that have been tracked for years. We're trying to find those new pieces of information that have been overlooked. We have an internal terminology we use for it called quantum risk, where you're looking at the kind of weird areas of risk, but I avoid saying it because it sounds a bit kitschy.
And could I just ask you, you had said burn after reading, which to me as a consumer sounds like a good application. But if I am, a credit referring agency or bank or whatever, then surely I would like to keep and collect the data. How do you square that circle?
That's going to be entirely consumer oriented. Okay. So if I'm someone who is very private and doesn't want my data in the hands of a bank or institution, I can make that happen. If I don't mind, if it's something that I think that let's say I was offered a loan because of my credit was good. Maybe I want to work with that bank in the future. I don't want to delete all my information so that I don't have to go through the same process. Well, then, you can have them keep the data. But if I get rejected from the process, well, I don't want that bank having my data potentially. I don't want that service having my data potentially, and then being able to sell it after rejecting me from the process. So it's entirely up to the user.
Okay, interesting, because to me, in my uneducated opinion, I would say, but it seems like you're actually helping the GDPR process here, at least in one way, because as a consumer, I am in control of, let's say, my data, and giving the okay, then obviously for a credit referring agency, they have already the rights to use that. Would that be an incorrect? Would that be a correct interpretation, I should say?
More or less, yeah.
So you're compatible with the GDPR, which I think is interesting. You touched upon Indonesia, and my question here is really how would you maintain control of let's say, your expansion? It's a hyper-changing environment where you have to be in the forefront of all technology and understand it, and then you have the disclaimer word, and also it seems like you're looking outside in the world and expanding geographically. Is there a risk here that you will spread too thin, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, in the same way that we're building to help businesses react to their risk, not react, proact to their risk. We manage everything proactively. We do have some partnerships in the Asia Pac region, but it's not something that we can't handle at the moment. The growth here and the growth that we are pushing for is very sustainable and not rapid and uncontrollable. Because that generally, especially in the SaaS world, rapid uncontrollable growth leads to a lot of troubles in the future. So we're focused on sustainable growth rather than wild uncontrollable growth.
And you're using.
I know that's.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I know that's a bit of a nebulous answer, but it's the best one I can give. We're proactively focused on ensuring that we do not grow too big too fast.
But would I be right then in understanding that you will actually use your own products in keeping control and staying on top of risk then?
Of course.
Oh, that sounds like killing two birds with one stone. Competence, how do you find it and how do you keep it?
Competence?
Yeah, well, within your company, I mean, if you're going to develop, let's say logarithm and then implement them, it seems like this is a knowledge company. So how would you keep the knowledge within the company and the persons vital to it?
Okay. So the data that we have obviously does belong to us. How we're keeping the competent people is we've made the development team their partners. That's not outside development, that's internal. There's comp structure that does involve options, so keeping people happy in terms of their comp structure is one way that we're keeping competence. And that is we're also keeping a very lean team currently. We have the management team, a few business development partners, and our development team. And that's really what we're focused on, and where the bulk of our horsepower is coming from. So I don't know if it's a matter of keeping competence. It's a matter of ensuring that when we do grow to include new people, it's remaining and maintaining competence as we grow.
And patents here, obviously that is a key thing to be in control of your intellectual property. And if we look around the globe, things looks a little bit different when it comes to IP and patents in for instance, China and India. Although these are early days, but should that be a worry for us?
I don't think so where we stand right now. The firm controlling our patent application is the same company that does it for some huge automakers in North America. So we're kind of equipping ourselves with the best possible solution for ensuring that those patents are highly defendable. When it gets to a global tipping point, I will see what happens. But for now, I don't think that's a worry that we have to think about.
All right, excellent. So basically, you wouldn't say that it's, at this point at least, patents and IP is not a risk. You do provide something or a solution to the consumer and the supplier of credits, as it were. And although you may be considered a competitor, you are actually a supplier to the big, let's say, credit institutes and so on. So it seems like a match made in heaven. So are you for sale, or are you willing to partner up with any one of the major ones? Or will you conquer the world on your own?
Of course, we're willing to partner up with any of the major ones. And if anybody from financial institution is watching, you can go to the website, impactrisk.ai, reach out to our team. But conquering the world is a fun thing to think about, but it's often highly impractical. Conquering our slice of pie first needs to be where our focus is, and that's what we're doing. And then if someone comes along with an offer, you never know.
Well, interesting. And mapping the path, you had a slide showing, well, let's say your plans going forward. But if we look at you on a stock market perspective, what would be the next news flow from you in sort of, let's say, if you know you have a deal cooking or if it's any results coming up?
Yes, so the flows coming out are going to be product and partner focused, focused on very tangible material items. Over the next couple weeks, you will see several partnerships as well as several product pieces as our products are kind of releasing in tandem with that pilot partner program. So I believe there's about a dozen companies in the pipeline right now, some tech, some brick and mortar, through that pilot program, some that we've already signed documentation with that I am NDA'd against talking about. But yeah, over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see partners, you're going to see products, and you're going to that's probably most of what's going to be released, unless there's news on the private placement.
Interesting. So a lot of, let's say, product news ahead. And I believe we also have the pleasure of seeing you in the flesh here in Europe. You're on a European road trip, I take it?
Yeah, next week we will be in Sweden, the Netherlands, and Belgium for a quick little physical roadshow.
Excellent. Well, bring your coat. Although you're Canadian, this can particularly in Sweden, it can be cold. Anyway, Eric, it was an absolute pleasure, and I'm personally very happy to have been enlightened with a very hot topic, but to me very well, let's say complicated. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And yeah, you got the right guy to talk about it in terms of our company. I'm the least technologically and AI inclined. So
excellent. Well, anyway, thank you, and we will see you here next week in the flesh, as it were.
Thank you so much.
Tack ska ni ha som har tittat och som sagt var på återseende. Hej då.